The rude awakening that many of you out there might need when it comes to your health and fat loss expedition is actually pretty simple. And that rude awakening is just stop trying to do everything at once. And the secondary part to that rude awakening is stop overcomplicating everything. Here's pretty much a scenario or an example of how things go down when someone wants to start their health and fat loss expedition. You want to go from 0 to hero in a matter of days. You go from eating copious amounts of takeaways and lying on the couch when you are not fueled by tequila and dancing on the bars, to wanting to be a professional high rocks athlete or a professional marathon runner within a matter of 2 weeks after you have started your health and fat loss expedition. In short, what I'm trying to say is you're expecting to lose 10, 20, 30, 40 kilograms in a very short period of time, hence why you want to tackle everything at once to speed up that process. Which is not the ideal way forward. It's not a sustainable way forward. It's not a way forward that's going to bring you long-term results when it comes to your fat loss progress. On that note, welcome to this episode of the Mandy Mayer podcast. As per usual, this is where we chat all about your health and fat loss, how you can achieve your goals when it comes to your health and fat loss expedition, and also how you can get started in a way that is manageable and maintainable for yourself that is just starting out. Listen, I want you to trust me on this one. Several years ago, I was 40 kilograms heavier than what I am now. And prior to that, I tried everything to lose weight. And I also had that mindset of everything has to be done now, because I wanted to lose as much weight as possible in the shortest period of time. And in my mind, the only thing that made sense was to tackle everything now. Make drastic changes with immediate effect. But at the end of the day, if you are turning to drastic measures to lose fat, all you are doing is exhausting yourself. You are overwhelming yourself. By you trying to do everything at once, you are turning the healthy habits that you're meant to be creating into a massive chore because it's just not manageable to do everything at once. Once you start tackling it in that manner, that's where you eventually start giving up after a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, because it's just too much, because it does feel like a chore now, because you are constantly questioning yourself in a very exhausted state as to how long you can maintain so many drastic measures. Eventually, all those drastic measures turn into a mountain that is higher than Table Mountain. Table Mountain isn't that high compared to Mount Kilimanjaro. Let's go with Mount Kilimanjaro. And all of a sudden, you look to the top of that mountain, Mount Kilimanjaro, and you cannot see an end. There's no end in sight. And that is where you give up because it just all seems way too much. Because why? Because at the end of the day, if you are trying to tackle everything at once, it is too much. If you need help with setting your goals or tackling this health and fat loss expedition in a way that is sustainable, you can join my private coaching community. Link is in the description. And if you don't want to join the community, there is digital courses that you can purchase. Links are also in the description. The secret to getting started and to maintaining your daily actions and your behaviors is to start small. But most people are impatient mofos and they don't want to start small because starting small doesn't necessarily bring around the massive results as what doing something drastic would. That, my friend, is where you need to shift your mindset. You need to be okay with slower results in the beginning and throughout the process, but knowing that those results are coming from a place of sustainability. You need to start small. Now, you need to look at what small changes you can make. Emphasis on can. What can you start doing? This is also where I've seen a lot of people going wrong. Immediately, you think of everything that you have to stop. Everything that you have to stop doing. And that can be quite negative. That can be a negative way of looking at this thing called health and fat loss. So why don't you shift that mindset and ask yourself, what can I start doing? What can you start doing when it comes to your health and fat loss expedition? Instead of telling yourself you have to stop eating takeaways or fast food or high calorie foods, Instead, why don't you ask yourself, what can I start doing on this thing called health and fat loss? Can you potentially start increasing the amount of vegetables that you eat? Can you potentially start increasing the amount of protein that you eat? Can you potentially start increasing the amount of whole foods that you eat? Emphasis on can and start. Because the moment you look at that, you're like, oh, I can potentially add some green beans, or, oh, I can potentially add some chicken or ground beef. And by doing it in that manner, automatically, when you look at increasing the things I just mentioned, oftentimes that is a spark that you need to reduce the amount of takeaways eaten or to reduce the amount of higher calorie foods consumed. But again, from a mindset perspective, you are not focusing on what you have to stop doing, you are focusing on what you can start doing. Can you look at maybe starting to move a little bit more throughout the day through increasing those steps of yours? And like I said right in the beginning, there's only one thing that I really want you to stop doing, and that is to stop overcomplicating the whole process. And what I mean by that is oftentimes I'll get DMs on my social media platforms where people ask me these questions and immediately I can see, ooh, you are overcomplicating it. Quote unquote, Mandy, I'm a 40-year-old cat whisperer who suffers with insomnia and I identify as a wheelbarrow. What time of the day should I be eating my dinner for fat loss to take place? Close quotes. Now, obviously that isn't a real message. No one has messaged me that. I just made that up. But I think you catch the drift. But many times I will get messages like that where people are very specific and they think that there is a specific way forward just for them when it comes to health and fat loss. And that, my friends, is you complicating it, because the fundamentals of fat loss remains the same no matter who you are or where you are based. Whether you are 25 years old or you're 45 years old, you want to try to start eating 3 meals per day at more or less the same time every single day. Whether you are 65 years old or 45 years old, you want to have a look at what your current steps are and then look at increasing them as you move forward. It really is all about the basics and the execution of the basics on a consistent basis. But number one, if you are trying to do everything at once, you are going to be struggling with your consistency, because by trying to do everything at once, it becomes impossible to adhere to. And number two, when you overcomplicate it and you think there is a specific time of the specific day where you need to drink a specific amount of water or eat a specific amount of lettuce leaves because you are a 42-year-old wheelbarrow, that, my friends, is you overcomplicating it. Stick to the basics and then consistently repeat those basics. Now, if you aren't sure what the basics are, you can either scroll through all my podcast episodes or my YouTube videos, because I have touched on the basics on a very consistent basis, or you can join my private coaching community by clicking on the link in the description, or you don't have to if you don't want to know what the basics are, or if you're not ready to execute the basics. Please only join the private coaching community if you are ready to actually commit to making changes. My wish for the health and fat loss industry and for all of you trying to lose some fat is that we all just stop overcomplicating it. People in the industry will complicate it because they want you to believe that it is complicated so that you can buy their products or their services. So I totally understand why a lot of you, and even me in the past, was confused, and why we did overcomplicate it, because sometimes it can be stemming from the messaging online from people trying to sell you products or services. Now, I'm going to tell you something. It is simple, not easy. Don't confuse simple and easy, but it is really not complicated. The simple fundamentals is calories in versus calories out. Oftentimes when people see how simple it is, that's when they think it can't be true. Then you go and overcomplicate it on yourself, because you're like, oh no, that it can't be as simple as eating more whole foods, eating less calories in general, and moving a little bit more on a consistent basis. It can't be as simple as adding 1 or 2 of your favorite fun foods in moderation into your weekly plan. That can't be, it can't be that simple, can it? But really, at the end of the day, it is that simple. Consume less calories, lie on the couch a little bit less, and move a little bit more throughout the day. Get enough sleep at night where possible, and then look at increasing the amount of whole foods that you are eating through increasing your protein, your fiber, and your vegetables. Drink some more water on a consistent basis. You know, just try and avoid dehydration at all costs, and repeat that on a consistent basis. Now, like I said, please don't mince my words here. Just because I'm saying it is simple, it doesn't mean that I'm saying it is easy. The concept is simple. The fundamentals are simple, but we all know that the execution is damn difficult. But like I said, you don't want to make it more difficult than what it is by overcomplicating it or by trying to tackle everything at once. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you like I usually do. Keep smiling, keep laughing, and keep being kind to one another. Much love, your friend who also once overcomplicated things but doesn't anymore, Mandy.